Welcome back, everybody. This is a brand new episode of For the Republic. I'm Lewis. That's KD. What's up, man?
What's good, man? How are you?
Doing all right. This is not gonna be. I mean, it should be a good episode. Kind of excited, but these are
Right.
not fun topics because we're gonna keep talking about the. I think we're gonna call it what the Israel War. I think people want to call it the Israel War, not the Hamas attacks anymore, because well, Israel is replying or responding to the attacks, which they should. Um,
Yeah.
by first bombing Gaza, and I think they already started their first round of bombing this week, and now they're apparently considering sending in the 2,000. I think they've amassed 200,000 ground troops already, and I think they're considering sending them into Gaza, which is for people that don't know, Gaza is a independent territory. It's not Israeli. It's not Israeli occupied either, which is like one of the misinformations that people have about the Gaza is like Israeli. It's like no, it's Palestinian. It's under the Palestinian Authority.
Is it also the same with the West Bank?
No, the West Bank is different.
How so?
It's on the other side. The West Bank is on the west.
Okay.
Well, not even the west. It's like where
Like on the north side of
yeah, well, I
Israel.
guess you could say it's technically it's like there's this land. It's landlocked. So Gaza's on the coast. Gaza is a coastal city,
Yeah, it
which
is. Yeah.
borders Lebanon.
Right.
Um, Jerusalem is on the let's just say the east of that like block of where they are. West Bank is that. So that's
Right.
which has been the biggest. It's like kind of the biggest, one of the bigger controversies. And then there's the Gaza Strip, which is that land surrounding Gaza.
hmm
But Israel gave away the Gaza Strip and everything.
Why did they do that? What was
Why
on their mind? Yeah.
when they did that?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when they went in, they sort of already had like they've already decided, there were already borders set. And when, the Yom Kippur War and other things, they kind of like, to say, hey, these are our borders. They drew them up, and Israel has been, and that's one critique I have of Israel, that um they let people for their own people just get out of these set borders and then pretty much like invade what is like quote unquote Palestinian areas and settle there. They just build up like homes and shops and communities, and then the Israeli soldiers, the IDF protects them against the Palestinians. The Palestinians can't do anything about it because if they do, they'll get harassed by the Israelis, and that's not a good thing. That obviously isn't a good thing. I don't support that. That's what I've always said. But Republicans for a long time haven't been able to say that. I think only Trump's been able to say that. I think Trump at one
Right.
point said like, "Hey, they shouldn't be doing stuff like that," and I think they stopped. And I think they didn't like
Right. Right.
that. I don't think they liked it either because for most part, Democrats like you seem to did now, and Republicans have been like blindly supporting Israel no matter what. And I get it. It's like at the big picture, yes, they should, but when those things happen, when there's like a blind support, you know what it is like. It's like you blindly support someone or you blindly love someone. You just ignore the bad things that happen.
Right.
So it's
Right. Right.
that. It's like they have to blindly support it. Like they're in there. And Israel's not even a creation of us. Like they like to say it's like, well, it's like we didn't make Israel. Like the British did, not us. They asked us about it. It's like, oh yeah, but they did that. I think the fact to get over the fact that most of Europe um ignored the Jewish people when before the Holocaust was noticed, because that's kind of the historical background to what eventually led them down there.
When did you probably won't notice, but when did America decide that they want to take interest in Israel more? Like when did they decide that they want to be more involved with
I
Israel?
think if I don't know, but I think it may be the Yom Kippur War sparked that interest because obviously it was Arab versus Israel. Israel, the Israelis were obviously pro-capitalism, and the Palestinians were always supported by this faction um, of sort of socialists because they lean left most of the time. Most of them lean left, even though they're very
Right,
social conservatives.
right.
So that's always been the dichotomy there. But I
It's
would think
interesting.
I think the Cold War sparked their interest in the fact that hey, we need an ally in this area that's on our side, and I think Israel's on their side because they have to be. They want the money and they want the weapons.
I think Israel's the only one, besides places like Jordan and Syria.
Yeah, but Jordan, Syria, first of all, Syria's not on our side. Syria's never been like, come on, Syria.
Oh, no, no,
Yeah,
no,
Jordan.
no, no.
Jordan is on our side, but only for like not for this because they're the ones not really supporting Israel. They don't really like they're Arab and Muslim, so they don't like Israel. So that's why people don't get the conflict. It's like, well, aren't they our ally? Yes, but like it's not black and white. It's not easy.
Yeah,
Like there's other
right.
factors that go into it.
It's still some complicated stuff in there. Yeah,
Yeah, so
right.
um so I guess we're going to talk a little bit about like what do we expect is going to happen in the aftermath of this because there's already been, Joe Biden was in Israel this week and he made a bunch of comments as he usually does, fucking things up. He took a picture with the soldiers, the special forces soldiers that were supposed to or are going to rescue the hostages. And
Did he
then
sniff any of them?
well, his team took a photo of them, put it on Instagram for the world to see, and didn't blur their faces. So they just got doxxed.
Uh,
They just doxed our special forces that are supposed to
oh,
go
I
save these
see. I
people from
see. Right,
us.
right.
And then they deleted it and said, "Oh yeah, we didn't realize it was a mistake." It's how did you not realize that's a mistake?
Yeah, the U.S.
I
just
thought
doxed
they
the
were
Delta
blurred
Force, which was
already.
sent to fight Hamas in Gaza. Wow. Yeah, I see it.
And we've sent two aircraft cruisers, the most powerful aircraft cruiser known to man, which is the USS Gerald Ford. I think on top of it, it has about 150 fighter jets
Mm.
sitting on it. And as of 3 hours, the Pentagon reports that it knocked down three missiles coming from Yemen that were on its way to Israel, according to them. That's live 3 hours ago. Um,
Mm.
So shit's gonna hit the fan. I think one caveat, one disclaimer, everybody has to know is that anybody who says they can predict Middle Eastern events, political events, or anything happening in the Middle East is lying to you. They just can't. It just won't happen. But my bet is, obviously, it's like the question: Are we going into World War III at this point? That's the
Most
question.
likely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna take the other side. I don't think over this. I think this is gonna die down eventually. I
Think
think,
so?
yeah, I really think so because the Israel and Lebanon have been shooting shots at each other this week, today and yesterday across the border because of
Oh,
the
okay.
border, and so, but remember that's because Lebanon is effectively run by Hezbollah and
Right.
Yemen is in Hezbollah. I mean, Hezbollah is in Yemen and it's in all the other countries and it's probably in Palestine too, but it's mainly in Beirut, which is Lebanon, and also and in Yemen. So I mean, those are the main players. Those are the main players. Now, the Egyptians and the Israelis have just agreed on a deal to get humanitarian aid into Gaza and into the surrounding areas. But Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt aren't taking refugees, which is another thing we're going to discuss. It's the question of
Yes.
refugees because why? Anyways, but we'll get into that a little later. But there are three. They're like these are the main players. It's Israel, it's the Palestinians, which are just Hamas, because the Palestinians, like that's we'll get into that thing. But and then there's Hezbollah, which is Iran, and those three. And everyone else is just sitting outside waiting for shit to hit the fan.
Hmm.
So Gaza's already going is being bombarded by Israel. They're sending letters in saying, "Hey guys, you guys need to evacuate out of here before we send in ground troops because we're going to soon." I think they're saying like 40
Right.
hours or something like that. And I think they're gonna keep bombing shit. Israel is bad
Right.
at is not is like Israel is getting pummeled on both fronts. So not only like did they get this happen, but the left socialist movement of the world has united against them again, saying that how dare they bomb a hospital? And then we find out, well, we don't know if they actually bombed the hospital.
Yeah.
There's no reports out there. And I'm not saying that they didn't or they did. I'm just saying that you don't know that. I'm throwing it back
Yeah,
out.
it's crazy. Yeah, right, right, right. No, it's crazy how the media is trying to put this out. I think CNN put out that Israel bombed Gaza hospital, killed 500 people, but then there was another news saying that allegedly, like it was like a maybe Israel was involved in it when, but we just don't know what's going on because they're not telling us the truth.
I don't think
Yeah, I
anybody
think
knows what's going on. That's the thing.
no,
Like they're not
exactly.
going to tell you. I don't think it's the
It's
truth. I think nobody knows.
it's the same with Ukraine and Russia. Like nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah,
You
nobody
know,
knows. Nobody's getting in there.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was
exactly.
listening to
Yeah.
people. I was listening to people like journalists talking about this, and apparently, if you're a journalist and you want to get into Palestine through like the Egyptian border or through the Lebanese border, which is like the main one, it's almost impossible.
Mhm.
That's
Right.
what I was hearing. It's almost impossible. They don't really have respect for the press like they do in Israel. Israel lets you get in and let you go anywhere, but they were saying that you can get into Israel and go anywhere you want, even if you want to cross into Palestine. But they do warn you several times, like, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't go there. Maybe you shouldn't go there. You probably shouldn't go there." But they'll let you go if you want to. But apparently, it's
Right.
different for the Palestinians. They don't like letting any journalists through. That's just them, and that's how these countries have always been in that region. They don't like the press. They don't
Yeah,
have that belief.
it's really
Journalists,
confusing, and a lot of people like to jump to a conclusion. You know, I have some friends that are pro-Palestine. They just jump right into it. Oh, Israel killed this many people in the hospital. I am so furious. Well, how about you learn both side of the aisle and see what's going on? Just don't listen to what the media is telling you. We don't know if they're telling us. They're not even telling us everything. That's the main thing.
right?
That really is.
Right. No, I mean those people. We'll get into those because that's what I also want to talk about the support and the criticism and both sides that are. Um,
Yeah,
but
right.
it's going to be difficult because we're not going to get any information until after things happen. So in terms of like World War III, again, like most of us, know. I think on both of us know this. It's like if Donald Trump was president, would this have happened? I don't think so. The information I've seen today is that this attack committed by Hamas was planned for over a year. This is what I've heard. That they've been planning for this, that they've been planning to do this exact same thing. What I find shocking is that there was like no plan afterwards. It's like, okay, you guys did this. Okay, what like let's just assume this plan goes well. Because I'm sure somebody was like, all right. I'm sure when Hamas was planning this, some dude wearing a hijab was like, hey, I don't think this plan's gonna work. And then some other dude smoking hookah on a pipe was like, no, I want to do this. And some other dude was like, hey guys, assalamu alaikum. What if this plan works? What do we do afterwards? And then the other guy was
Right.
like, hey, let's get this done. We'll figure it out later. And then later happened, and there's nothing like, what was the plan? Like, did they think Israel was going to collapse off this, which was pretty bad? But like, I mean, this is like an established republic, democratic republic in the Middle East. It's like I don't think it's going to collapse just because some dudes were just screaming "Allahu Akbar" and killing people in the streets. I don't
Yeah,
think
it's not gonna
so.
collapse that easily.
No. So,
Yeah.
and how did you not know they were going to reply? But then they banked on the fact somebody there because they're clever. They're not stupid. They're clever. Somebody probably banked and said, those stupid kids in like New Jersey that are Arab and wish they were Palestinians are going to support us on Twitter and Instagram. So we're going to get all the minds of the world are going to agree with us, and they were right. A bunch of stupid kids that don't contribute anything positive to society are siding on Israel, siding against Israel because they want to be Muslim, or they like the fact that they're Arab, or they just have hatred for Jews because they do, and Muslims do, and Arabs do, and always have. Uh, Now they're just on their side. So I feel like Hamas probably knew that. I mean, they would. I don't think they're stupid enough to not know the fact that they have thousands of people in places like London, New York, and Minneapolis, in Boston and California, who are on their side and will
Right.
have gone to the streets shouting stupid stuff like "Free Palestine," as if this was like free them from what? From Hamas? Yeah, you're
or
right.
Allah Akbar. That's all they
Like
scream.
free them from free Palestine from who? Hamas? I agree, but you guys don't want to do that.
No.
They'd like that's I would agree with that. But so that's one thing. But in terms of like the military, like overall military points, I don't think that Hezbollah wants another war with Israel coming from Lebanon because Israel has the capacity to destroy Beirut. It almost did it before. In fact, in 2006, when Israel went to war with the Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Lebanese economy has not recovered since. In fact, it's still bad because of that war. And there were people in there who economic ministers, finance ministers, who were saying things like, "We should never redo what we did in 2006 because we're still paying the consequences for that." That's
Right.
Lebanon is like literally like another flooding away from being a failed state. That's just how it is. And I don't know because Hezbollah is run by Iran at the end of the day. End of story. That's just how it is. No, anybody can say, "Oh, but because every time you mention that and say, "Hey, these are terrorist groups and they're backed by a terror state, a terror state theocracy, which is, kind of, fascist, which is Iran." Everybody who supports Hamas in Palestine just flips back to the thing of, "But free Palestine though." It's like, yeah, but this isn't like you don't know anything. And that's what
Yeah, there's more to it instead of just screaming out free Palestine.
exactly. And so I don't think, and the people that fund Iran are Russia, mainly Russia, and China a little bit, but it's mainly Russia. I don't think they're going to be willing now that they see that there's two U.S. Navy aircraft carriers loaded and locked, ready to go. Just and they've and the pen and I'm going to give Biden credit here. They're playing this kind of well, except the fact that every time he opens his mouth, he just ruins it.
You give Biden credit? Wow,
Because
that's a first.
I'll give him credit. I mean,
Right.
he's been until today. He was pretty like locked in with Israel. I mean, he. I wish he had come out and said, I mean, this is the thing. I'll support. I'll give. I'm not supporting Biden. I mean, I won't vote for the guy. He's done a lot of shit badly. But if we get into a war, that's the guy at the top. This isn't like Israel where they have a council of three. This isn't, the other countries where they have war councils where it's all decided by a committee. No, the commander in chief decides what the fuck he wants to do.
Yeah.
Congress declares the war, obviously, but at the end of the day, end of story, he runs the show if there's a war. And so you're going to need him to be, somewhat okay. Like, Joe, those are Arabs over there. Be racist again. You don't like them. So sick the dogs on them. And so he's kind of doing that right now. I mean, they sent two warships there. The Gerald Ford is the premier aircraft carrier in the world. It's better than anything the Chinese have ever thought of making in their wettest dreams. And and it's there and it's locked and loaded and they've already communicated to everybody there, "Hey, if shit hits the fan, we're here and we have ground troops for a mass of 2,000, which isn't a lot, but for the area it is. 2,000 ground troops of special forces being amassed and sent over there is pretty significant if for Hezbollah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they're probably trying to hedge, and I think that's why they're sending the Lebanese, the Hezbollah through Lebanon are like sending air missiles because I don't think they want a repeat of ground forces. But they're trying to make this illusion of that Israel's going to have to fight a war on multiple fronts. So Gaza, missiles coming in from Yemen that have been knocked down by the Ford, and then Lebanon, the Lebanese-Israel border. These are these fronts that they're trying to create. So Israel's like, "Oh, we can't focus, we can't do it right." But I don't think they realize that Israel is very well stocked and could bomb the shit out of Beirut if it wanted to, like right now, because it's done it before and it can do it again. I just don't know if it's going to do it
Yeah, I don't think so.
unless it's provoked, which
I
it's
mean,
being provoked.
thinking about it now, because you mentioned Russia, and I the reason why I say most likely when it comes to World War III is because I'm afraid that China might get involved. But if China did get involved, how does that benefit them? That's what I'm actually thinking. Because I don't think it'll benefit them. I don't think it'll benefit them a lot if they decide to join in the war. You know, I think most likely Iran's going to go ahead and
There's this complicated part of it. Why would it get involved? I mean,
yeah,
China and Russia for a long time, not only are they, I mean, China hates all religions, but Russia has a history of being anti-Semitic. It just does. So does Ukraine.
oh
So
yeah,
it's kind of funny the
right.
fact that Zelensky wanted to go so that people didn't forget who he was. And then, but they also have this massive anti-Muslim sentiment. They don't like Muslims either. So I
China,
don't
oh
see them
yeah,
jumping
oh yeah.
in and saying, we're going to save. China's pretty much just said, hey, we don't support Israel's flat out bombing of Gaza. But it's generally only saying that because the US is involved, which people don't get. When when Iran and Saudi Arabia were engaged in a proxy war in Yemen, and they still are today, where 3.5 million Yemeni people have died, and nobody who's screaming free Palestine is mentioning it because they don't know anything. And your friends who talk about, oh, the Arabs and the Israelis, is Israel responsible for 3.5? Because that's Hamas's best friend and daddy, Hezbollah, is responsible for that. 3.5 million Yemeni people who are Arab and Muslim are dead. And it's not Israel's fault. It's your fault. It's literally your own people's fault. This is like black on black crime. Literally. Literally.
Yeah, and it really irritates me every time they post shit like this. It's like, dude,
And
you
they
guys need
can't
to learn more,
they don't
honestly.
know anything. So that's the other thing.
And you kind of,
I don't think China's getting is going to get involved to answer your question. I don't think so because I don't think it sees itself. And I think they benefit from this as a whole if U.S. and they wrote an article. Whenever you want to know what China's thinking, go read the I think it's called the South China Post or something like that. I have the thing here. I'll find it. Um, there's like a
South China Morning Post.
Yeah, the South China Morning Post. Anytime you want to like know whatever the hell they're thinking, just go to the
All
South China Morning Post. And they had an article on there that a headline that said the US have sent are going to use military force, and that they're saying that because obviously they sent it two huge ass aircraft carriers. They're saying if diplomacy fails, they're going to use violent force. It's like, well, I mean, they said that themselves, so this article is irrelevant. But that's, I think, what the Chinese are playing that card of. We're going to be the diplomats here. We're going to want a ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire to make it for the
Yeah, I
cool.
think they were saying that. Yeah.
So I don't think they're looking to get involved, and I don't think it would benefit them. I mean, what are they going to get from this? Points? I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, wait, I don't think it's gonna.
they're killing Muslims as we speak. You think they're gonna? You think I could see the Palestinians liking them because they're all stupid, but I mean, it doesn't benefit. It doesn't make sense for anybody. I mean, I like India's approach here, where nobody's even heard what the hell they're saying. They're not even. I bet they've said something, but nobody's heard of it.
No, I
And
mean I've
so,
seen some pro Israel rallies, but
so
I haven't
yeah,
heard any common stuff.
but none of the government's saying anything harsh, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
we
yeah,
need red
yeah.
lines. So a year after this, nobody's going to involve India in this, and so they're smart. They're saying we are going to make call centers, and that's it. Okay, and that's all. That's literally their line right now. They're like, oh, we're only focused on business. We're not getting into this. We're Hindus. We're peaceful. I mean, that's a lie, but we're just Hindus here. And
Right.
it's like, all right,
We
but
want to make sure that we get to the moon again.
we're going to get to the moon, okay? We're on the moon. Hello, guys. We're here on the moon. There's literally like a war in Israel, and these guys are just screaming at us from the moon. We're on the moon, guys. Hello. And but you had a question. You were gonna say something before.
Before what?
I interrupted you to answer the China question. You were gonna say something.
Oh, I forgot. I don't remember.
Okay, yeah, but I think we've covered enough about the fallout of potentially what might happen if there's going to be World War III. I don't think so. I mean,
No,
Biden. I mean, I'm going to get into like the political things. I mean, Biden is already requesting about like I think 100 billion in aid, not just for Israel. He hasn't forgotten his main bitch,
no,
Ukraine.
no, exactly. Yeah.
He said, "I want $100 billion in aid, and that's why we need a speaker." Guess what? That's not going to happen. Even if we get the speaker, I don't think Jim Jordan. Now, I would be shocked. I
Excuse me.
would be I would be shocked if Jim Jordan approved or even sent the vote to the floor for $100 billion for uh not only Israel aid but Ukraine aid. Shocked,
Uh, That would be
shocked.
insane, right?
Now I can see it being forced to go to the vote to the floor, and he can't stop it because the Senate has already approved it or written something up and says they're going to approve it and sends it to the House, and the moderate Republicans are going to vote for it because they've been voting for Ukraine aid anyways. And so I feel I can see that happening, even if he's the
But but even if they approve it, can he stall it?
yeah, he can stall it, but once it's done by once the Senate says yeah we're greenlighting it, and once the president says yeah I'm signing it, it's done. So he could stall it, but I think that's going to backfire. I think he's just going to get overruled on this. Um, but
That's
I
gonna
just
be
don't see it
fucked.
happening. And again, like, don't they already like what is the aid for? Nobody ever talks about the aid. Like, I want to know what is the aid.
No one knows. Nah,
Like, I hear the
nobody.
money, but
Yeah,
and
nobody
how is
knows
it
what's
being
in it.
spent? Like, who's getting this? Is this like a direct deposit? Is this like a credit card?
Is
Who's
this
getting the credit card?
through Cash App?
Yeah, like, and who's getting it? Like, what is it being spent on?
Right.
Because I feel these are just at this point, we're not even just handing aid; we're just donating money.
Yeah, we're just donating as if like we got that much of money
Yeah, as
to
if we
save
don't
this
have to
country.
pay it off.
Yeah, as if it's
So
really that insane.
yeah, so um, let's just jump into the because I think what you were going to talk about is how you hate that some kids are like supporting Palestine, and I think we're going to get into that because I think here let's just start with the states because I think that's what matters. We talked about the protests in London and all that stuff. It's all related. Um, Biden said some of the stupidest shit I heard in my life today. When he literally went
Surprising.
in Israel, he just said, oh yeah, we don't support Hamas and the most radical elements in Hamas. And then I was like, what the fuck does that even mean? What do you
Right.
mean the most radical elements of Hamas? They're all radical. Their like group mission or charter literally says to end the existence of Israel as a state. Like what do you think that like what do you mean radical? This was these like what?
I mean, it's actually crazy that he's playing both sides right now.
Yeah, and that I think yeah, that's I think I would agree with he is playing both sides because
Because he's also isn't he also sending millions of dollars to what was it, Palestine or Hamas for like um what was it, emergency aid, something like that?
well that's Palestine, the
That's
Palestinian
Palestine.
Authority, which is
Uh,
run by Hamas, but they don't want to admit it though.
yeah,
Because
that's what I'm saying. Like Hamas,
so
what is it?
yeah, it's called the Palestinian Authority. It's run by Mohammed Abbas, who's this old guy who's been there since like 2003, 2005, something like that. And he's always used like Hamas as a shield as to why he doesn't like do peace deals or anything, or like wants to sit down and discuss, because either he's a puppet or he's part of the he's one of the ringmasters. I would say puppet, but in a good puppet at that. Um, yeah, but Biden, it's like, why would you say the most radical? Like, what do you mean by most radical elements? And that's why I said, like, every time I sort of agree, like, yeah, it's good that he brought that airship, that aircraft carrier there. But then he says something stupid like this, like, oh, the most radical elements of Hamas. It's like, no, no, Hamas is radical. They're a terrorist organization. Like, these are people that smuggled. These are groups that smuggle weapons and drugs and human trafficking or engage in human trafficking when they're not trying to get rid of Israel, trying to like eliminate Israelites off the like face of the planet. Like that's what they do.
And
That's
you
why they're
kind of
friends with Hezbollah.
and you kind of want to question why aren't they funding money to hospitals and education when they put like literal weapons inside the school buildings and hospital buildings. So it doesn't, yeah, it just dumb. I do want to point out like what's in the $100 billion package.
Okay.
So far, just 10 billion go to Israel, $60 billion to Ukraine, and the remainder be divided between Taiwan and boosting security at the southern border of the United States. That's racist. That's racist for to do that? What is he
I'm
doing?
sure because they just
He
found
can't.
out that they just caught a bunch of Hamas and Hezbollah fighters at the southern border, and that's only a little bit of them this week
But they're humans. They have the right to come here and live peacefully and find jobs. Why are they boosting the security at the southern border?
because they're racist. I told you they were racist.
God, white people, man. Fuck. Jeez.
It's disappointing.
But yeah, that's what it is so far. But most likely it's probably not gonna pass,
No,
regardless.
and
So
and then eventually they're gonna send, even without a bill, they're just gonna say, oh yeah, there was an accounting error, and we're sending $44 billion in a mistake. But even though that was a mistake, we're not getting it back. It's like, all right, so like what?
yeah,
Just,
well, that's why I just want to mention. Um,
uh,
what was what did Rashid said? Is that her name? Yeah, what did she say that got people to go inside the U.S. Capitol? I don't know if you looked up on that lately.
I saw the mess, but I didn't really look into what they were saying because I've kind of been like tired of listening to them at this point. Let's see what she said. Oh yeah, she
I'm
said
tr
some shit
Yeah,
about.
I'm
Oh,
trying to see.
I think she just said that um, Israel caused the hospital a blast and stuff, and um, so it seems here I'm reading a report right here that says U.S. intelligence shows that Islamic Jihad rocket misfired on Gaza hospital, but Tlaib still blames Israel.
Like, really, come on.
So it looks like the CNN is reporting that what we know is that potentially Israel has laid out evidence that shows a misfire by militant group Islamic Jihad caused the blast, and U.S. President Joe Biden backed the explanation, citing U.S. intelligence. A
I want to know
spokesperson for the National Security Council later said that analysis of overhead imagery intercepts in open source information suggested that Israel is not responsible. Palestinian officials and several Arab leaders nevertheless accuse Israel of hitting the hospital amid its ongoing strikes in Gaza. The Islamic Jihad, a rival group to Hamas, that's just bullshit. They're both buddies, has denied responsibilities. All right, so there was a hospital, there was a missile, okay. Well, why are people even still in Gaza?
Yeah, nobody
Why are
wants
they
to
there?
question. Yeah, nobody wants to question
Like,
that.
why are they there? Like, they gave you literally like 2 days to get the fuck out of there. You should be more pissed at Egypt, Lebanon, Jordan for saying, yeah, we don't want you here. Isn't that crazy? The people that support your right to have a government are literally saying that we don't want you in our country. Literally saying, we don't want them in our country, but we support you. Yeah, we're with you. We're down, but you can't be with us. Not because, oh, we don't have space. We just don't want you here. Like, those must be some amazing people.
Yeah,
Those must be like the best free fighters of all time, freedom fighters or something.
I,
Because
I, I I guess it's not racist for them to do that.
no, it's not racist. But that tells you a lot about the Palestinian people. Your buddies, the Arabs who support you and scream free Palestine, don't want you.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Jordan, they probably do have a large amount of a Palestinian population.
No, they don't. They don't. They don't want them. People need to get that in their head. Those countries don't want them.
Egypt definitely don't want them.
They don't want them. Jordan doesn't want them. Lebanon doesn't want them. They don't want them. That should tell them if you're listening to somebody drool about Hamas and Free Palestine and that bullshit, you should tell them if they, like why aren't the countries around them accepting the refugees? Why aren't they? And why do they want to go to the countries they criticize so much, like the United
Yeah,
Kingdom
exactly.
or the United States or Europe, who's already said the French have pretty much said that yeah, we're not going to take people because I think they are realizing that yeah, it's they're sending sleeper cells, Hamas, Hezbollah, this new Islamic Jihad DJ group. That's really what it sounds like. Sounds like a DJ group, Islamic Jihad,
Oh yeah, yeah.
real creative
Jordan.
guys.
Okay, so Jordan don't want anymore. But like, this was the Mid East War in 1967 because like 300,000 Palestinians fled to Jordan, and so I think that's why they just don't want any more at all because they already have like a large population of them.
In 1967.
Yeah, Mid East War.
Yeah, that was a long ass time ago. Forget
Yeah,
about it. That was literally like 60 years ago. You can take some more people, bitch.
Well, he said, no, I said, fuck that. No, we don't want any more.
Yeah, guess
Getting
how?
sick and tired of it.
Yeah, that must mean that those 300 that came there must be amazing.
But I mean, I'm pretty sure they're also afraid that Hamas might infiltrate the military as well,
Oh wow, who
unless it's
said
being
that
run by
before?
as one.
Who do you think said that before? You, me, and every conservative in America literally said that. I mean, I think people in retrospect are going to realize that that travel ban that Trump did against the eight, terror sponsor nations, Palestine, the Iran, Yemen, all those, that was some of the best. That is amazing policy.
It is.
Amazing policy, which I haven't heard any Republican talk about. But he was the one who said it on the campaign trail. He was the one who said it without even like being told that, oh, Bush is saying no. He was like, I'm gonna ban radical Muslims from America because they're terrorists.
And I'm all for 100%. Call me racist. You guys can suck my nuts.
Yeah, this is what happens. They said, look at, I mean, Paris isn't even French anymore. London isn't even
No,
English anymore.
nope.
It's Arab. It's Muslim. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. They're going to the places they hate that they called infidels, and they're conquering them, and then they're still ripping off those. I mean, if I was those people, I'd say, you guys are supporting Palestine? Get the fuck out. Go back to Palestine. I would round up every Palestinian. I definitely would. I'd say, you're gonna go back. You love it there so much, you want to free it, go free it. You're saying
Oh,
it's great and
the
that.
cringiest one. The one thing that's so cringe is a bunch of signs saying "Queers for Palestine." Like, oh my
Cows for
God, man.
McDonald.
Right?
Cows for McDonald. Dogs for China.
It's like you guys are lucky you have the audacity to speak like that in America. But if you go speak like that in Palestine, go
Don't they
fucking
know that
luck.
Israel is like one of the gayest countries on earth? Israel is like literally one
They,
of the
they probably
gayest
don't know
countries
that.
that are. Some of them do because I've seen some of them post shit. I've seen some like posts on IG. It's like it's so
Yeah.
complicated because Israel's for queers, but Palestine should be free. It's like free to do what? Free to kill you because they don't want you on the planet. You think they're just going for the Israelites? They're not going for the Israelis. They're going after you too, bitch. You queer motherfucker. They're gonna kill you, bitch. It's like who like and this is the part where intersectionality. Have you ever heard of intersectionality? Intersectionism? Intersection? So
Yes.
it's effectively like it's this theory that's propagated by the socialists and progressives that oppressed groups eventually meet for a common cause against oppression. So
Okay.
and their view is the gays are an oppressed group, the Palestinians are an oppressed group, the blacks are an oppressed group, and they're now intersecting into one point, which is against a common oppressor. Even though those groups despise one another to the point where Arabs are oppressing gays, blacks and Arabs have a problem, Muslims and everybody else have a problem. That's where that fallacy. Remember what I told you? It's like it's funny because the wannabe Africans in America, which is like black people nowadays,
Hmm.
don't they realize that the Arabs were enslaving them long before the white man ever did,
No, they don't know that.
and still do that to this day on the
They
continent
don't
of
know that.
Africa, which they love so much but couldn't name 10 countries on it and where they are
They don't.
exactly.
They don't know that.
They don't know the fact that Libya today, which is an African country in Arab, is a modern day slave state.
They
Modern day
can't
slave
even
state.
they can't even read fifth grade books, so they don't know that.
They can't read over a fifth grade level, which is like the same. I mean, that's what they have in common with Africans. And so that's one example of this like this little theory of intersectionality just failing. Like they don't they're not they oppress each other too, bud. They're not friends. They can't be. It doesn't make sense for them to
No.
be. But because of this ideological war against Israel, where they portray Israel as this poster child of crony capitalism, Western influence, you know, the patriarchy and what the West and everything, that's not socialist and communist, and the fact that Israel is a white Jewish. Remember, Israelites are white, so they're attributed to being white people, And because of the color of their skin and not really what's going on to them, all those groups are effectively saying, we're against you because our common enemy is the white man. It's really at this point just the bonus that they're Jewish because they're already anti-Semitic, and that's why
Yeah.
all the hatred and criticism of Israel, and I'm not hearing criticism, it's just pure hatred of Israel. It's all rooted in hatred and anti-Semitism and racism and fascism and all of that. They like to make this little speech that Hitler would be proud of the Israelis for doing what they're doing to Israel. No, Hitler would be proud of
What?
all of you.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Hitler would be proud of you guys.
Wait, is this the funny part where these same people who attacked Kanye West for being anti-Semitism, but now they're also hating on Israel and the Jews right now. But they were hating on Kanye before.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah. Well, but Kanye really was being anti-Semitic.
No, which I'm not disagreeing on that, but it's funny like they were attacking him for that, but now
Yeah, yeah,
they're
exactly,
it's like
exactly, exactly. See, that's how the irony. That's why intersectionality has always been the most funniest theory, the most hilarious theory to me, because it's like Hispanics and blacks have to hate the white man. Wait, but blacks are racist to Hispanics, and a black
it is
president deported the most Hispanic immigrants in American history. What do you
yeah.
mean? Who's oppressing who at this point? Like, what is this? It's the biggest joke. They don't. It doesn't make sense because you know it, history is not a tragedy. People like to look back and say, "Oh, it's such a tragedy." It's not a tragedy. It's a story. It's not a narrative, but it's a novel. It's a story of how things became the way they are. It's not a tragedy though. People like to make they like to romanticize things, and but it's not easy. It's bloody. It's complicated. It's not fun. Um, and often dangerous when you realize that what you thought was true is actually not. Um,
It's part of life. Yeah.
so yeah, I've always just felt that the support of Palestine is just unfounded. It's completely unfounded, and it's kind of shocking. I have these polls that I found that I kind of want to show now. Um,
Hmm.
effectively, like what support of kind of just like highlighting the support people have of Israel now. So this is a this right here is a poll that was taken by JLP, which is a British polling service, and they posted this on the Daily Mail. Uh, the percentage of 19 to 29-year-olds, so Gen Z and millennials, who has a positive or negative view of Hamas, and only 4 in 10 of 18 to 29-year-olds have a negative view of Hamas. That's pretty concerning.
Wow.
That's a pretty concerning thing. Where if you see this number, it's literally neither. The majority is neither and don't know. There's this huge age gap right here between literally 34. Like if you see right here, it's like most of these groups, half of them and more than half condemn them. They're like, yeah, no, these are terrorist groups. But then you get here to 20, only 23% have a negative view, and that's how you get the 40. This is where you get the 40%, where only 40% have a negative view of Hamas. I mean, that's a concerning thing. And we've all heard of, effectively the we've all effectively heard of, the universities and the groups and Harvard pretty much, and that letter that was written by Harvard and Columbia and I think Princeton and other universities in America. And now all of a sudden, all these companies and law firms, because it's happening a lot of law firms, a law schools in like Harvard. Now law firms are saying, "Hey, you guys actually, we're not going to hire you because we don't support anti-Semitism." And remember, what's the main driver of that? Who do most 18-year-olds and 28 to 29-year-olds spend time around? Most of the people in that group spend time around college professors who
Teachers.
are
Yeah.
teachers, college professors. They're all on their phones, following influencers, social media, and they're all paying attention to what? And they're all believing in what? In free Palestine. And so many of them The majority aren't going to. I mean, you see 40% literally says, I don't even know who the fuck. I don't have an opinion.
I wanna know who's the 6 and the 4%. I wanna know those people.
And so you have literally 40%, and like 20% saying, yeah, we have a positive view of Hamas.
Now the people who said neither or just don't know, just
What the
either
fuck are they
don't
doing?
they just don't care or just don't trust the media. I mean, yeah, exactly. What the fuck are they doing?
Well, what do you mean that don't trust the media? You just saw Hamas literally run into another country and just assassinate people on the streets. There are photos of people dead at bus stops. Bus stops.
Yeah, but you still have a lot of people that just don't care. They see that. They saw what happened with Israel. But then those same people, when Israel decides to go attack them, now is the opposite. Now they support Palestine.
But those are the
So
people.
yeah,
Those are. I think that's more so the crowd that's in that less. That's steering away from the negative view. I'm just saying, like, how do you not like have an opinion at this point? Like, how do you not know who Hamas is at this point?
is they just probably don't give a shit.
Yeah, I think that's why we won. Um, yeah, you're probably right on that one. Yeah, but this is concerning. I mean, this is another sign of the college indoctrination that's been happening for years now in universities. And I told you this last. I've been telling you this for a couple episodes now. Remember, the socialists since the beginning were anti-Semites, deep
Yeah,
anti-Semites,
yeah.
and that ideology spread very quickly through the Arab world. I mean, there were prominent Arab socialist leaders. I talked about General. Now I'm forgetting his name, but Nazir in Egypt, who was a Muslim, but he was also a dictator. I mean, this is not a new thing, and
No,
so
it's not.
the new kids nowadays, many of them who are they like Islam because they think Arabic is a romantic language, which bullshit, never. Um, and and then the Quran has like a picture of a star on it, so now they think it's all spiritual, but that's bullshit. And now they're like enamored by I guess Muhammad, an illiterate warlord who merchant warlord who like couldn't read but could uncomprehend the message from God. Like, okay, come on. Before this turns into like me disproving it, me criticizing the Quran and stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fine.
no, but it's like it's indoctrination. I mean, there was a
It
post by a
is.
professor at the Chicago School of Arts, I think at the Chicago Art University, pretty much saying like free Palestine and that Israelis were pigs, say fascists, that they all deserve to die, that they need to be eradicated, and then just had to apologize for it because she was going to get fired. I mean, this is the typical college professor. They do not like Israel, and a lot of things is one is at the end of the day they can't make anything up. I mean, at the end of the day, they're going to hate Israel whether they do what they do or not. And it's because they're white and they're Jewish and they're anti-Semites and racist. And the socialism is the underlying ideology of it all, the Marxism. That's all the underlying ideology of Palestine, Lebanon, Hezbollah. And you know that, and you can confirm that by their friends. The friends of Hezbollah are Cuba, Russia, China, the former Soviet Union, the Venezuela, Bolivia, Brazil. These are all friends. Everyone who's not condemning the attacks are friends of these people. Now, you talked about the Saudis before the episode. Now, the Saudi prince that you have to care about is MBS. Anybody else who says anything is a joke. He calls the shots. And he's criticized the Israeli response. He doesn't like the attack in Gaza. He
Yeah,
doesn't
I just don't know who he is, but all I read was the that little statement right there. But you said who? MBS?
MBS, Mohammed bin
MBS.
Salman, the young one that we always see wearing the typical.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about actually. Yeah,
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 the
right,
young
right,
one.
right.
He's the one that matters. He is the leader of the Saudi kingdom. His dad is still the king, but it's just a puppet. It's him. He has won the
Ah,
fight.
him. Right, right.
Mohammed bin Salman.
Yeah.
He is effectively the de facto ruler of Saudi Arabia. I know it. He knows it. We all know it. Even Joe Biden knows it because he fist bumped him. So
Yeah.
So he's running it, and he's already saying, "I don't like it. I don't like it," and he's called off peace talks with continuing the peace talks. And I mean, in that other prince that you mentioned, who's irrelevant, but still, his point is that yeah, a lot of this was done because they know, they see Hezbollah, Iran, and Hamas. They see the progress. They see
Yeah.
the fact that they're being alienated in the hemisphere they've always wanted to control because of U.S. because of one man, Donald Trump, and nobody. The man who talks about Florida will never admit to that because he can't, and if he did, his campaign would be over. Because he would never be able to do that himself. He would never be able to accomplish that. And what he was accomplishing was a peace we've never seen before between the kingdoms of Jordan, Oman, Dubai, Egypt. I think I said Egypt twice. Saudi Arabia, Iraq, even maybe Afghanistan, maybe Pakistan, which is Muslim and sort of Arab, but they kind of feel Indian at this point, right?
Mm,
They're more so in that area of the world than they are really in Israel.
right, right.
So, um, yeah, I think they felt pressured. I think they felt pressured, and they felt like, hey, we have to do something to disrupt the flow because we're going to be alienated soon, and if we're alienated, the Russians and the Chinese have no use for us. I mean, Hezbollah is the paramilitary fighting force of the theocracy in charge in Tehran. But that theocracy is hanging on by a thread. It is. And I think Russia and China, if they find that the Iranians are useless and have no more use for them, they'll throw them out. They'll throw them out.
Mm,
And I think
mm.
that's what they were concerned about because I think is Iran is in a very fragile point. Now, do I think we should do what Lindsey Graham wants to do is commit and go for full out war? No. Um, but I was listening to Victor Davis Hanson, and he was saying that if this war does get out of control, he believes that if Iran strikes Israel and Israel engages now in a full out war, he believes that most countries in the Arab world would be okay with Iran just being taken care of forever, or Hezbollah being taken care of forever. Because I think people in the region feel like they're a nuisance more than a benefit. The
Mm.
constant war. I think
Right.
that in the region, I think a lot of countries in the region just don't like the fact that there was a huge proxy war in Yemen, and still is, where 3.5 million lives were just wasted because Saudi Arabia versus, you know, Iran. And that was another one back when Obama was president that everybody wanted to shit on Saudi Arabia. And the only reason I kind of stood up for Saudi Arabia was, why is nobody talking about Iran? Iran is the one causing a lot of these conflicts,
Yeah.
but nobody wants to talk about them. But it's
Nobody.
because it's because for some reason, for some reason, when Obama ran for president, he said one of the most ignorant things among many of the other ones. But he was asked a question about um, would he open up talks with Iran, and it had been longstanding policy. I mean, the Bush administration barely talked to Tehran; they would just send warnings, but they never wanted dialogues. They didn't want dialogues with North Korea. They wanted no dialogues with Tehran, and that was kind of the same policy that the kind of Clinton had too. I mean, he didn't want to. They didn't really have communications.
Were they
Reagan didn't
afraid?
talk to. No, it was just a. It was just a. It wasn't a. It wasn't a fear. It was just a thing of we don't want to. We're not going to negotiate with active sponsors of terror. Like we're fighting you. We're fighting your troops. We're fighting you in Iran, in Iraq, in Afghanistan. We're seeing that you're in places like Yemen and Somalia and in South America. Why would we want to have dialogue with you?
Okay. Right.
Obama justified that by making this bullshit claim, and he did it in a debate, and it should be interesting to people. Obama took 3 days to make a statement on this conflict. It took him 3 days. That should be interesting to people. This problem, this problem is the legacy of Obama. This one right here. The Hezbollah, Iran free for all that they have in the Middle East, where they're just running wild, getting money, you know, kidnapping and raping and etc. This is a direct result of the Obama administration because they're the ones that decided to have open arms with Iran when they hired people like Michael Malice and Michael Malley and Valerie Jarrett and, and a bunch of other people that Valerie Jarrett was born in Iran and raised in Iran and was part of the group that wanted to normalize relations with Iran and give them all they did in the peace deal in 2015. I mean, that's the group. That same group is running the foreign policy team for Biden today. And that's why people should ask him,
Hmm.
well, how come he's this bad? I mean, he's literally the third term of Obama in terms of foreign policy.
Well,
And so this is why it's so bad. And he made a response, and his response in that debate was, you know, Ronald Reagan and JFK talked to the Soviet Union. Why can't we talk to Iran and Palestine and Venezuela and Cuba and North Korea? And we can have open dialogue with them. And his response was, oh, well, Ronald Reagan talked to them, so we should absolutely do it, which is bullshit. I mean, you want to know why Ronald Reagan and JFK did that? They didn't want to. You know why? You know why?
well, no,
Because
I don't know.
because the Soviet Union had 7,000 nuclear warheads pointed at us too. That's why.
Jeez, man.
Something none of those countries have combined.
Right. No, that's what
That's
the
why we
fuck.
went to talk to them because we both had nuclear weapons thrown pointed at each other, and we sent nuclear missiles, ballistic missiles to Turkey, and they were sending them to Germany. That's why they talked because shit
Wow.
was hitting the fan. That's why we talked to them. You think Ronald Reagan wanted to talk to the Soviet Union? No, but he realized, hey, shit is gonna hit the fan if we don't do something, so we got to do something about it. But she was only hitting the fan because they had nuclear weapons, not 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 some dude just screaming "Allahu Akbar." That's not a nuclear weapon.
Right.
So
Wow. That's yeah. It's you did mention that that you think that the war is gonna die down. I don't know if you said it, but
yeah, I
how?
did at the beginning.
Yeah, but like how would it like die down? Like
I
how do you
think
think that's
I think the sides at play are going to reconsider things. I don't think that Hezbollah in Lebanon is going to want to overplay its hand. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to. I don't think that they're going to overdo the airstrikes they're doing at the Israeli border. I don't think that they're going to respond through Yemen. I think if they just got 3 missiles caught down today, like 4 hours ago. Now,
oh
not
yeah.
4 hours ago. Hezbollah in Yemen launched 3 missiles in one of our ships, the U.S. ships, intercepted them and just got rid of them. So
Mhm.
that's something we have to see the fallout of that because that's something new. So, and like I said, I don't think neighboring countries are going to want to fight with Hezbollah when they don't really like Hezbollah.
Okay.
So I think like it might die down where Israel conducts this. They say, "Hey, yeah, we're done. We killed the people of Hamas. We did what we were going to do. We're going to leave." I think I think if they follow that line, I think it dies down. I don't think it escalates in the way it will. And I mean, I certainly hope it doesn't.
Yeah, let's just hope that.
Yeah. So, but I think that may be it. I mean, maybe I'm naive, but I think the U.S. presence there. I think Egypt will then say, "Yeah, I kind of have to play ball with." I mean, these big ass ships are like right here, and I think I don't know
Yeah,
if you've ever
they
seen
don't want to deal with that, right?
I don't think if you've ever seen
The warships? Yeah, I've seen them.
you've seen the photos of the warships here.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So we have like
If I were them, I wouldn't want to mess with it.
I mean we have this right here, and then we have the so right here. So here's the news article right here. Um, U.S.
They're
Navy
crushing the
warship near
balls.
Yemen intercepted projectiles. Pentagon says. And so, U.S. Navy, the USS Carney, operating in the northern Red Sea on Thursday, when it brought down the projectiles and there were no injuries. The intercepted three cruise missiles and several drones launched by the Iran-aligned Houthi movement from Yemen, potentially toward Israel. Washington is on heightened alert for activity by Iran-backed groups as regional tensions soared during the Israel-Hamas war. And that's the USS Carney. We cannot say for certain what these missiles are targeting, blah, blah, blah. And so they said that the warship was not the target, so that's one thing. But it kind of makes sense. But the U.S. has sent a significant amount of naval power to the Middle East this past week, including 2 aircraft carriers, support ships, and about 2,000 Marines. So I
Hmm.
think when these countries realized, oh shit, they just sent 2,000 Marines, um, maybe, just maybe, we shouldn't go too crazy. That's what I'm thinking. But
Or
that's the
maybe they think there's 2,000 call them drag queens.
well, that would be scary.
Scary looking, yeah, but
2,000 of them running at you, the
and
hairy chest and
trying to kiss
booby
you
lipstick.
and all that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those motherfuckers could be like, "Oh no, Muhammad, please run with me back to the cave.
This is haram.
This is haram. No, do not touch me, Bruce Jenner."
Right.
Yeah, so that would be what
Would
was
be
I saying?
terrible.
Well, yeah, that would be
Like I said, if I were them, I wouldn't want to mess with that either. Because it's two warships we're talking about, and the extra 2,000 um men on ground. But let's see how it goes. Let's just hope what you said is true, that it'll go that way. Um, but it's still gonna get ugly
I think
regardless.
I think, I think I think another thing to be concerned about is just this new generation that we talked about. I mean, when 40% of kids, only 40% of them, I mean, that's the minority of them. That's like a majority of kids pretty much saying, "Hey, yeah, only 40% of us view Hamas as badly compared to the older generations where it was 60, 70% of the generation said Hamas was they had a negative opinion on Hamas. That's a concern. That's a
It
huge
is a concern.
concern.
Yeah.
And you
What
see
do they
these
know?
kids
They keep
being
talking about. Go ahead, go ahead.
no, I mean, it's like this huge concern that these kids are effectively like gone. Like these kids have been convinced beyond any reasonable truth, without any facts, that Israel is this apartheid state that is effectively the second coming of Nazi Germany. I mean, as if they're building camps, as if they're the ones.
Are
I
you
mean,
gassing them?
I don't think they realize, you know, Nazi Germany passed and had one of the most notorious, awful, horrific genocidal committed one of the most genocidal days in history. Something the Israelis have never done to the. I mean, Kristallnacht was effectively the day that the Nazi Germany encouraged everybody who was non-Jewish in Germany to go out and antagonize Jewish Germans. I mean, I don't think we forget that. Where like thousands of, tens of thousands of Jewish people were dead or sent to camps,
Right.
and yet these people who are ignorant yet think they're so smart are effectively just saying, "Oh yeah, no, Israel is just like Nazi Germany. They're fascists and they're racist and they're genocidal." It's like, have you looked in the mirror lately? The charter of Hamas, the group you're supporting, and the group the Palestinians are hiding behind, literally say in their charter that they want to get rid of the state of Israel. In fact, in their charter, they don't believe in a two state solution. They don't believe that Israel has a right to exist. They do not want any non-Arab Muslims living
One side
in
wants peace, but the other one wants to eradicate.
the other. Exactly, the other side wants to eradicate. And I would say this to correct what Joe Biden said. I would say this:
Don't,
like
don't, don't, don't.
Palestine, the Palestinians or are using Hamas is using the radical elements of the Palestinian people to rally support outside of Palestine, and that's the truth. When you see all these rallies, when you see all these people, these all these, and pay real attention. It's men, young men,
Yeah.
going out in these rallies in London, in New York, in Boston, in Seattle, in Los Angeles, Minneapolis, etc., 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 etc. It's all those men. It's young Arab men going out and saying these things, and young, disillusioned, ignorant young Americans and young blacks going out there and saying these stupid lines of "Free Palestine" and "Jews," for, I mean,
Yeah, it's always the fat, ugly looking ones too.
especially them,
Fucking leeches.
especially them, and they're the ones out there in this country that have been convinced that Israel is this evil satanic state. And if I was Joe Biden, I
They'll
would have said
soon
that.
they'll soon realize when Hamas comes into our border, they don't give a fuck if we
When?
support them or not. They don't care.
When? You mean they're here already? Rashida Tlaib is a member of Congress.
Well,
And literally
yeah, you're right.
Oman, I mean, Elon Oman has literally been a Hamas and Hezbollah apologist every
Yeah,
single
you're
year
right.
of her tenure.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And so if I was Joe Biden, I would have literally said, Hamas is shielding behind a radical element of the Palestinians because this needs to be addressed. Why are the Palestinians cheering when the Israelis were bombed and that attack happened? They cheered. They cheered. There were Palestinians out in
Did
the
it?
streets cheering that this happened. There were people. You saw the videos. I've seen the videos of people
Oh,
at the
yeah, I saw
protest
the video.
saying,
Yeah, I saw
"We
the
are
video.
Hamas. Palestine is Hamas. We are Hamas too. Hamas is
Yeah, I
Palestine."
saw that.
That means something. That tells me that there is a large magnitude of the Palestinian population there and in America that is in agreement with Hamas. That needs to be addressed by somebody at some point.
Yeah.
And if I was him, I would have addressed it because I think the Democratic Party is running into this problem of holy shit, these young kids we indoctrinated for our side are crazier than we are.
Yeah, it does look like it. Yeah.
I mean, they are not only are they like yeah, they're for the abortion and they're for the climate change, but holy shit, they want to get rid of Israel. They don't support Israel like we did. They want to get rid of it. They support the Palestinians.
It's like, what the fuck do they even know? I just like how they keep talking about 75 years ago
Like,
when they've been fighting for thousands of years. But they always talk about 75, and they're not even right with their history. They just keep saying that Israel's colonizing. Colonizing what? They
yeah, they
didn't
were just brought
colonize
up there.
anything.
Yeah, they were
Huh?
brought there.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody knows that.
Just like you guys, by the way. They're not native.
Yeah,
You're all not native. I mean, you've been there for, let's say, you do the math. They've
your
been there
parents been
for,
colonizing America.
they've literally been there for like less than 2,000 years. I get it, but you're not native.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Polish aren't out here saying that Western Ukraine belongs to them. They're not,
Oh no.
and it does belong to them
All right.
because they've had it for 900 years. They had it for about 900 years until the Germans and the Russians made a deal, which is the other thing, which is the other hypocrisy. I mean, that's the other intersectionality moment when you realize that the Ukrainian World War II veterans were actual Nazis fighting against the Soviet Union, which were friends with the Nazis and let Jewish people die. Like two worlds meet and nobody knows how to choose a side because and it's funny because I'm not really choosing a side. I don't really give a fuck. But it's like if you hate Putin, you're on the side of Nazis, and if you like Putin, you're still on the side of like Nazi friends because they were friends with Nazis until the Nazis invaded them, which people don't get. It's like they they beat the Nazis, yeah, because the Nazis started fighting them. That's the only reason they got into it. People don't forget that Stalin made a blood deal with Hitler, effectively letting him murder millions of Jews invaded half of Poland. I mean, they literally, it's like splitting a cookie. Hitler literally just broke the cookie. It's like,
Yeah,
here you go, Joseph, have half of
here you go.
Poland,
Take that, and
and I'll
I'll
have
take
this
mine.
half of Poland.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, that's literally what happened. And the Russians were like, you're going to kill Jews? Okay. We don't like them either. We're just going to look away and kill our own people because that's literally what they did. They just genocided their own people.
Right.
Like, as if this is like not like it's there's nuance and context to these arguments and these support and these teams people are trying to like put themselves on sides of. So it's literally when I see a Ukraine flag on a car, it's like you do realize you're supporting literal Nazis, right? Like the Ukraine support the support for the Ukraine war comes from Western Ukraine, not from the
Hmm.
East. The
Right.
West is filled with literal like Nazi remnants.
Right.
It's
Nah,
hilarious to me.
yeah, pe people don't know
And
that
the
at
same
all.
thing is happening here, where they're literally on the side of a group that's and I'm going to say it. I mean, Palestine and Hamas are the exact same thing. I've never had sympathy for them. That's one of the main reasons I've never had sympathy for Hamas or the Palestinians really, because they always like to like cry about how they're like oppressed. It's like, bitch, you're the one pussying behind Hamas. If you want to be taken seriously, kick Hamas the fuck out of there.
I don't disagree with you on that. I actually do agree on you with that part. Have you seen the video where they celebrated and were cheering that 9/11 happened?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they don't like America.
That's what I've been saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you actually want to be
The
taken
regular
seriously,
citizens, the regular citizens don't like America.
no,
And
they
then
don't.
they want to like come to places like Europe and yeah, no, they don't like us.
They
So
don't.
no, I agree with you on
Yeah,
that part.
yeah, yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
disagree with you. They are the same.
they're the
They have
same thing
this
to me.
they
That's why I
have the
told people.
same
It's like, no, you
they
guys
have
are
the
the
same
same exact thing.
mindset. They have
Oh
the same
yeah,
mindset. They have the same ideology. I
yeah.
do not support it at all.
No, yeah.
As an American, where my parents coming from India, we don't support that at all. We've had our histories with Muslims, you know. I don't like the ideology. I'm not a huge fan of the government.
It should
I do
tell
have
you a
Muslim
lot.
friends. I do have Muslim friends. If they don't like me, then so be it.
I mean, it should
But
tell you a
it's my
lot
view.
when the countries that support them vocally don't want them in that country.
They don't.
Egypt doesn't want you in your country. Jordan doesn't want you in Lebanon
They
doesn't
don't
want you.
want. Yeah, exactly. They
Saudi
don't want you.
Arabia doesn't want you in the country.
You guys never been to Palestine yet. You're over here talking about pro
Oh,
Palestine, free
pro-Palestine, free
Palestine. You guys
them,
never
free
been there.
them. It's like I don't think they want to be freed. Free them from who? Hamas? They don't want to be freed from Hamas. And don't you realize that Gaza has been like its own like Gaza isn't run by Israel. It's its own thing, and it's been its own thing for like years now. Gaza is
We've
run by the you, and this is another thing. You do realize that that water, Gaza is a coastal city, and it has ports.
yeah.
Gaza has
Right.
the potential to be Singapore. Singapore is a city state. It's just like Gaza, almost the same size. It's not big.
They're doing
It's
they're
a
doing it
city,
to
really.
themselves.
It's like
Right.
it's like ancient Florence. It's like a city state, and it's extremely wealthy.
Hmm.
Gaza can be that. You know why? Because billions of dollars in trade ships and oil cross through that cross through that ocean, cross through those waters. Billions of dollars. But Hamas has never really talked about the fact, and in its charter, it says that. It says that in the charter that they are not focused on establishing a separate state next to Israel. They don't want that. That's what they said in the charter. They are not concerned with business. They're not doing this to create a robust economy like Singapore. They could be. They could be literally Dubai, but they can't because the
No.
people there are radical Muslim sycophant extremists. And the people that support them don't know anything about that. I mean, look into it. Gaza has the characteristics to be Singapore or Dubai. It has it. It's a coastal city. It's a trade port, or it can be. They don't want it to be, though. Hamas does not let it be because that's not their goal. They're not in this for that. They're in this for jihad, global jihad, ancient jihad. So I'm just gonna.
Not just Jews, but all non-Muslim believers as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're not building. You're not building. I said this last episode.
Yeah.
Do you think a Palestinian would let me build a Catholic cathedral in what the fuck is the city, Gaza, or the other ones that they have? No, they wouldn't. So,
Imagine a Muslim world in America where the Quran and Muslim ideology roams around in America. The
oh,
American Constitution, the
just
American Constitution and ideology will not work at all.
just watch Fresh and Fit.
They really pissing me off with that shit, especially Sneeko.
Oh, Biko,
Wannabe
yeah,
ass
Biko's a bitch, man.
motherfuckers.
Yeah, Biko's always been like,
Honestly,
yeah,
like it
Neon,
really pisses me
Biko,
off.
yeah, they're all motherfuckers. I mean, did you see Devin, Donovan Sharp? You know he's married to a single mom, right?
Oh yeah?
Yeah, and he's always talking shit about, and she has videos. That white woman is a single mom, and he talks shit about, he submits to me. Wait a second. The alpha man submits to a single mom.
Oh,
Free Palestine and the single mom. Yeah, it's always been bullshit to me. That's what I mean, the fact that people buy and pay their shit is bullshit, man. I would rather you pay for OnlyFans than pay them. I would much rather you do that. Much rather. You know why? Because there's no bullshit involved in that. And I don't really give a shit about the OnlyFans. That's why I don't give a shit. It's like, I just don't want my daughter doing it. You know what I mean?
well, I kind of care, but yeah, I get
No, I'm
you.
just saying.
Right,
It's
right.
like, if you're gonna pay $20 for that, I'm like, bro, just pay. I don't know, pay some hot bitch, like for the
Or just
OnlyFans,
pay
than
some
than
fucking
giving.
pros pay some
Yeah, like,
prostitute at the
no,
corner
but I'm
street.
saying, like just because they're like the two evils. It's like them or the OnlyFans, right? Because that's who their enemy is. It's like that, the free OnlyFans versus the free Fresh and Fits.
Yeah,
And so,
right.
yeah, so I'm on Team OnlyFans at this point because these motherfuckers are cringe as hell. At
Well,
least I know what I'm getting with Team OnlyFans. They're stupid, they're hot, and they're filled with silicone. I'm okay with that. At some point they're gonna shut up. But the Fresh and Fit don't. They just keep talking about how women are like bad for them. But they wish, I don't know. They're just,
all right, back to Hamas.
well, I mean, we're kind of done now. I think I ran out of the time. I mean,
Well, I mean,
anything
yeah,
else you want to talk about?
you guys already know my idea. There's no way in hell that I will support any of this stuff. We already have our criticism when it comes to Israel, but yeah, no way in hell we can support that kind of ideology. So yeah,
Yeah, it's like the criticism of Israel, like that you mentioned. It's like, that's why I brought up the fact that all these peace deals were coming along, because I really believe that Iran, Hezbollah, and Hamas were threatened by the fact that they were no longer going to have the political support or economic support of countries surrounding them. Right,
yeah,
when they're signing peace deals with Egypt, Oman, the Dubai, Jordan, Morocco, and all these other countries, that's concerning to Iran, Hezbollah, and Hamas. That's why I
yeah,
thought, that's what's like, the criticisms were kind of going away until this happened.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
like it's kind of an interesting thing to point out. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just it's a sad affair when um realizing the fact that this was all preventable. If Donald Trump was president, because although I'm not really sure at this point.
this would have also been
Sometimes I doubt it.
preventable. This would have been also, well, I'm pretty sure, like, even if Donald Trump was here or not, they're still gonna fight regardless.
Yeah.
Like, they've been
So
fighting for so long, so there's definitely no peace at
I
all.
feel like maybe something would have happened. Something might have popped off, but
This could have
maybe
also stopped if Israel um didn't ignore it when Egypt told them that
bingo. That's another one. Yeah, which is a concern to
it's
me.
like hold up, like what were you guys doing? You guys heard that they're gonna do something, yet you decide not to add any defensive protection or none of that. So to me, it just feels like this was all planned. They planned this all out, but I don't know. It's just me saying that.
Is it? Yeah, I
Uh,
know. We talked about this. I think the first time this was brought up.
it's like they want this to happen.
It's like Israel has the most heavily fortified borders in the world,
Like yeah, and the technology is so advanced. You guys don't
and
know that.
a bunch of like fat, you know, random, goat fucking Allahu Akbar dudes just screamed across the border and like ran into Israel. Like I find that very hard to believe.
Yeah,
This isn't the Mexican. This isn't the southern border, guys. It's not wide open.
yeah. I even saw a
Ours,
video of like how Hamas was using rams to push down the border. Yeah, they were finding ways to pass over, you know. So I don't know. It's a lot of questions that needs answers.
yeah, but every time there's a video against Hamas, all the Palestinians are like, "What is your evidence for that?" It's like, what do you mean
Exactly.
evidence? There's literally
But
journalists
but
who have
whatever
come
happens,
back.
but whatever happens with you guys just gonna believe
Oh
it.
no, 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 yeah, no, that's oh, so where's your evidence that Israel's doing that?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's what
the
happened.
evidence is
It's what happened when people are so one-sided. If you're one-sided, your emotions rises. I mean, you see it with Ben Shapiro, which is understandable. You
exactly
know,
that was a good point. I forgot to mention that this episode. Both sides are having these emotional fanatics
yeah,
going on.
yeah.
Ben Shapiro
At the
versus
end
like
of the day, yeah, right,
yeah,
right,
yeah, it's like Ben Shapiro versus Muhammad Hijab. Both annoying as fuck.
right, right.
And they both can't make any sense of it because Muhammad Hijab says I do condemn Hamas, but he's leaving out the big caveat which he knows, and he knows it. He's just slick, or he thinks he's slick. It's that he and I know, and you know, and I know that he knows that I know that Hamas and Palestine are the exact same thing. Point blank, end the fucking story. That's like it. Like stop ignoring that fact and shoving it behind because
Yep.
it can't be that there's massive sex. Like why are they so opposed to the fact that Israel is replying to a terrorist attack? Was Israel just supposed to take it? That's really a question that's not being asked. We're just focusing on do you condemn Hamas? What about no, no. Why are you angry at the fact that Israel is striking back for a terrorist attack? What should they have done? I want to know.
When this happened in 2021, you guys were, all up on it and trying to say, "Oh, justice, we're trying to fight back." Hamas attacks them first. Israel attacks them back. Now you're all angry. Now you're calling them terrorists. Yeah,
Now
it's
remember, last time it was because they did this. Hamas did it too.
yeah. I forgot
Hamas
how it all
started that.
started. Yeah,
Yeah, Hamas launched the missiles, and it was intercepted by the Iron Dome.
but wasn't it also like election problems too?
Election problems.
Yeah, like something happened with the elections and Israel
Well,
kind of like
that wasn't a reason for the war, but that was just internal, like
that was just like
strife.
part of it. It was just part of it.
That happened like afterwards.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, so
okay.
that happened like after and before. Like, there's been moments. So there's like hot, yeah. But that was like another problem that they've. So Israel's had its fair share of problems. Yeah, but
That
we're
makes
gonna
sense.
keep on trying to record more frequently in terms of so you guys can get the freshest updates on what's going on. Let me just check right again before we finish this up. If there's anything
Check with
anything
what?
here on what's happening, live coverage here. Wall Street Journal's been pretty good on, if there's any let's see, President Biden said that American leadership is what holds the world together. The Israeli military continued its airstrike on Gaza and it was preparing for the next phases of the war. I mean, he's not wrong about that.
Mm.
No US troops in Ukraine, but some in Israel. Yeah, it seems like yeah, potentially there might be there. Let's see. Virginia hotel cancels banquet for Muslim group citing threats. Shortly before President Biden denounced Islamophobia and other kinds of hate in an Oval Office speech, the Council on American Islamic Reforms, or a Muslim advocacy group, said that a Virginia hotel canceled its October 21st banquet citing multiple terror threats, and that the group found an alternative location for heightened security. Aw, you mean so that they can go and criticize, they can defend Hamas some more? Isn't that great? Biden tells Americans that supporting Ukraine and Israel is vital for U.S. security. Well,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it seems like that's it. Let's see latest updates. Okay, aid. Let's see about military casualties. More than 1,400 Israelis have died since the Hamas assault began. In Gaza, officials say that the Palestinian death toll is more than 3,785, including what they claim is 471 people they say were killed in the hospital blast. Israel says that 203 people were taken hostage by Hamas, an increase on its previous number. Yeah, so that's a U.S. warship near Yemen came under a drone attack on Thursday following attacks on two military bases in the Mideast. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, you can't really expect them to have peace, honestly.
Yeah, it's a long term and it's a spiritual and cultural problem. You know,
Yeah, right.
religious too. So that's why it's very difficult to get anybody to agree. For the Muslims, really, I think the Israelis are. There are people in Israel that I would criticize. You know, I've seen the videos of them saying we don't want any more Palestinians. We want this all to be Israeli. It's like nobody. You don't.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Right.
Like
I've even seen a video where they were insulting Christian women too.
exactly. Yeah. So that's
Yeah, so it's
so
they're
we
not
have our.
perfect.
That's why I'm not that big into this problem. It's like I'm Catholic. All right. When the Crusades are when you guys want us to come in again, we're here. The Jews weren't the ones fighting with the Crusades. They're the ones running away. The Catholics were the
Right.
ones fighting against the Muslim invaders in that era. Like we've been through our Crusades, okay, and we won. That's why they're all salty.
Salty.
Yeah, yeah. When the Spanish kicked the Muslims off of Europe and kicked them out of Morocco.
What time is it? I think we're already past like
Yeah, we're done
an
here.
hour 15.
So again, hope you guys liked this episode. Like, subscribe, click that notification button so you can keep up with our newest content. And there's also the Patreon where we might be doing we usually do like, an exclusive episode, only $5 a month. Link is down below in the bio. And I hope you guys see us next time. Uh, yeah. And see you next time. Bye.
Stay hella racist, y'all.
Bruh.